All right, match 4. Mono Blue Delver. We're on the draw. So this has turn 1 Delver into turn 2 Counterspell or Ninja, which I think is good enough. It's really awkward drawing even 2 of these cards in our opening hand because they're more expensive, and we can't generally use multiples of them quickly, but it's hard to say no to turn 1 Delver. No Force Spike Arena? Please? Please? Okay, it resolves. Our opponent has a Swamp, Blue-Black Control. Oh yes, Blue-Black Control with Innocent Blood. I love this card. Obviously I don't love that it just killed our creature, but still I love the card. I will hide our Bone Splitter and hold up and counterspell. Alright, Spell Stutter Sprite. So I could try to resolve a Golem this turn, or I could hold up in Sprite. I think I like Sprite a little bit better. I think I'll probably play my Bone Splitter as well now. Accumulated Knowledge. They are missing a land drop, which means their hand is probably stock full of removal and counter spells. But I'm going to try to do this anyway, and then I can Bone Splitter it up and force them to deal with it. Alright. And since they're waiting until my turn to deal with it, it means I also have Counterspell available. Alright. They don't care about that. I'm going to Ponder, try to hit a land drop. Hopefully they don't do something in response to this because I don't have Counterspell up. Spire Golem, Counterspell Island. Well, I think that's good enough. Let's do that. I'll pass the turn. Accumulated Knowledge. This is going to let them draw 2 cards. Do I want to counterspell that? I think I do. I think their cards are important enough right now that I want to 2-for-1 them with this. Their lands are important since they missed their last land drop, and obviously spells are important as well. We're going to get Chainers here. No, Echoing Decay, okay. Still missing a land drop. So now I get to Spire Golem, leave open Counterspell, and then Ninja, leave open Counterspell. And if I can start connecting with Ninja, maybe I can get enough card advantage to overwhelm our control opponent. Alright, they exile our cards. We don't mind so much. It's going to be a little obvious when we attack with Spire Golem and don't equip it. But I think that's still okay. I suppose if we draw a land, we could equip it. We did not. And I think since actually I drew another Ninja, I'm going to wait. Or another Spire Golem, I'm going to wait. And I will fight over this, because I don't want them to counter draw. Alright, they put out a Pristine Talisman. And a Diabolic Edict, okay. So they're tapping out. Vapor Snag is going to be pretty bad against them. I am going to play a Ninja with haste effectively. Draw myself a card. And another Ninja. So now our opponent's gaining 1 life a turn with their Pristine Talisman. So we need to try to assemble a good offense. Bone Splitter is actually good against control because it means every single creature I have is a much bigger threat. My 1/1s become 3/1s, so they can't just sit around taking damage from them all day and trading off my damage with the life gain from their talisman. Main phase Mystical Teachings. For a Disfigure, that makes sense. They still appear to have no lands in hand. No, now they do. They drew an Aqueduct. And they pick up a Radiant Fountain, so they're making their land drop next turn as well. So I could Bone Splitter and hard cast a Ninja, That draws me one less card. I think I'd rather draw a card than deal the extra damage, so I'm going to ninjutsu again. Alright. I get to resolve a Spire Golem, but first I'll preordain. Ooh, another Spire Golem. So I think that's pretty good. Let's get rid of this preordain. Although, actually, do I have time to do that? Yeah, I have time to preordain. I'll put that on top, Golem on top, and then just play 2 Golems. This is pretty decent. So our opponent does have a Mystical Teachings in the yard they can flashback, but it will take them most of a turn. I think I'm going to start by putting Bone Splitter on here just to quicken the clock, force our opponent to do something. I don't think they just want to take 8 this turn. And then when they do something, I can ninja in the ninja maybe for the other golem that's not got a Bone Splitter on it. Alright, our opponent's letting all this happen. Preordain, I'm going to try to find a counterspell. I don't want Vapor Snag. I do not want to land. Another preordain. Show me the counterspell. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Another preordain is fine. Counterspell is good. Okay. So now when they flash back Mystical Teaching, I can counter that, or I can wait for whatever spell they're going to go get. So they could have a Dispel here. Of course, if I wait till they untap, they'll have even more mana, and they could cast whatever they got with Mystical Teachings and Counterspell. I think this just works out better for me if it doesn't resolve. Because if they have a Counterspell in hand, and it seems like they do, based on how they've been playing, they haven't had that many lands in hand, they haven't had a ton of kill spells, it seems like. I think I want to fight over the Teachings now, instead of whatever they search for on their turn. Alright, and we win the first game, which is obviously excellent, and we get to go on. So the great thing about Blue-Black Teachings, or Dimir Teachings, is that you can sideboard into the Gurmag Anglers from a creatureless version. So I might think I don't want any Gush or any Vapor Snag at all, but then if our opponent just brings in 4 Gurmag Anglers, then I have nothing to deal with them once they resolve, which is obviously annoying. I'm definitely bringing in Stormbound Geist. I'm definitely bringing out some amount of Vapor Snag. The question is, do I want to leave 1 Vapor Snag for Angler, or do I want to leave 1 Annul for Pristine Talisman? I could also do Curse of Chains against Angler instead of Vapor Snags as a more permanent answer. I think I'm going to bring in the Vapor Snag. It can bounce the Angler. It can also bounce one of my own creatures in response to removal to kind of draw a creature at the cost of a life. So if they don't board in creatures again, maybe then we board out the Vapor Snag for game 3. But like I said, the opponent can always keep you guessing, so we shall see. Alright, we're on the draw. We have turn 1 Delver, turn 2 potentially Ninja, potentially Counterspell, and we have our sideboarded Stormbound Geist. We have Vapor Snag, which we really don't want in our hand, but besides that, it looks like a pretty good hand, so I'm going to keep it. And we will see whether this Delver gets disfigured. Hopefully not. Alright, there's the disfigure on their turn. This means the ninja is not coming down. Preordain, try to find some more lands. Force Spike, Fairy Miscreant. Well, I don't really want either of those cards. I just want lands for resolving the Stormbound Geist next turn. Alright, Delver. See if they can deal with this one as well. Island. Well, if I wasn't going to draw an instant or sorcery, Island is the best card. I really want this Geist to resolve, though, since it costs them 2 removal spells once it resolves, instead of just 1 counter spell in the air. So should I just hold up and counterspell instead? I don't believe so. I think I need to be aggressive. This way, if our opponent doesn't have a counterspell, then it's just so much better. And if they do, it uses 1 up. And it resolves, oddly enough. Maybe they have a way to exile creatures in their deck. Or they board into Curse of Chains themselves or something like that. They gain a life up to 20 again and pass. And we get to reveal counterspell and have 5 power to attack with. So now we're actually doing excellent. We have a 4-turn clock and 2 counterspells to back it up. These 2 counterspells probably won't be enough to just make our opponent do nothing until they die, but it will definitely be good. They know we have a counterspell in hand as well because of the Delver. Do we care enough to counter this? I don't think I care enough. This slows down our clock a little bit, but I think I care more about removal spells, so. Get to attack. Definitely not picking up with Ninja of the Deep Hours now because I want my mana up for counterspell. Preordain. Try to keep hitting land drops. Question is, how many land drops do we want? Probably just one of these. We want to be able to gush, but we also don't want to get flooded. If our opponent waits to try to interact on our turn, then we get to counterspell and counterspell again. Evankar's Justice? Alright. Well, our opponent knows we have a counterspell, so they probably can counter back, but we have to try to do this. Alright, counter back. So should I save my Delver? Yep, that's probably what I want to do. Unless they have Angler in their deck now, then this Vapor Snag is not going to get any better. Stormbound Geist comes back. Oh, there's a Ninja. I could also reset this Stormbound Geist by putting a Ninja in. And I still get to leave open a counterspell in that case. I think I like the sound of that. It does less damage though. So maybe I just want to hard cast a Ninja. No, I think I'm going to be greedy. I think I'm going to do this. This means if I can resolve the Stormbound Geist again, it's another removal spell that it eats up. It lets me get card advantage. Let's see. Should I ponder and try to hit a land? Yeah, I think I should, because then if I don't hit a land, that means I can play Delver and plan on flipping it. Ninja Island. Okay. I'm not going to shuffle just because I don't want to shuffle and then not be able to either play counterspell or for sure have a Delver flip, so I'll just take whatever I can get there. Devour Flesh. I'm going to attempt to counter this. And if our opponent counters back, it's going to be annoying. But they'll be down to 2 cards in hand at least. They're cycling a Lonely Sandbar, probably looking for something. Okay. Devour Flesh instead of Diabolic Edict is because they do have Gurmag Anglers either in their deck or their sideboard. And this lets them gain life occasionally. So I think I'm going to gush pre-combat to try to cast something pre-combat as well. Alright, we win the match. Our opponent must be on air in hand, and they don't want us to draw more cards. So we overcame blue-black control through the power of Ninja of the Deep Hours, drawing cards, which puts us at 3-1 in the league overall. And we are on to match 5.